indigenous people's capacity to develop as individuals and as a people is based on a social order that is determined by the people themselves. If and when this social order is destroyed, their identity and continuity as a people are threatened. A crisis ensues. For the Bodo people, their current situation is one of persistent crisis as they continue to fall victim to socio-economic suppression, oppression, exploitation, and political domination. Since time immemorial, the Bodo had ruled not only the entire Brahmaputra and Barak valley, but also some parts of West Bengal, Bihar, Nepal, and Bangladesh. In different places and times, the Bodo were known by different names: Kirata, Mlesa, Kachari, Sutia, Moran, Koch, Dimasa, and Tipera. Since historically untraced ages, the Bodo had exercised highly developed political, legal, and socio-cultural entities. Historical monuments and remains at Dimapur, Nagaland, Khaspur and Maibong in Assam, Tripuri Castle in Agartala are mute witnesses to the heights of Bodo civilization. Today, the majority of the Bodo live on the foothills of the mighty Himalayan ranges in the north bank of the Brahmaputra or Dilao River. When a Bodo works on a piece of land, he establishes a spiritual and legal bond with it. His community facilitates such bonding. He too is loyal to the interests of the community. The reciprocity develops various institutions to give the capacity to progress as individuals and as a people. It is such social order that ensures the identity, continuity, cultural and intellectual development of the Bodo. The Bodo have their own Tibeto-Burmese language. They have their own religion, laws and customs. The Sizo tree, five-limbed, is an apt symbol of worship. Central to the Bodo ethos is the concept of harmony. Harmony with nature and harmony with community. This is well expressed through their idea of cosmos. Bodo cosmology is reflected in Bato, the five elements: earth, water, fire, wind and sky. The Kerai is the classical Bodo rite of worship. The main performers of ritual are the Oza or chanter and a Deodini or dancing oracle. Their chanting and dancing convey truths of life, being and becoming. The altar for worship is around the Sizo tree, the Euphorbia splendens. It is fenced in with a round frame of split bamboo. There is no priestly class or caste system. Usually, men of age with social respect are chosen to have spiritual responsibilities. Such a Boro is known as Deuri. Sometimes a Kerai is special, and so it is large scale. The Deodini, a woman possessed with divine spirit, dances keeping time with music made out of kham, svung and zotha. It is an all-night event. The Oza chants continually. The Deodini dances. She dances circling the sacred altar. Finally, the divine spirit in the Deodini lifts her high beyond the realms of space, beyond the confines of time, far into infinity. A Kerai is more than just a rite. Participatory in nature, it provides myths of human origin, the origin of the world, the individual's ideal relations to land and community, processes of conflict resolutions and moral values designed for all aspects of living and developing in Boro society. In the early part of the 20th century, a social-religious movement was launched by Guru Kalicharan Brahma, mainly as reaction to the continuous conversion of Boro people into alien folds. The religious movement, called the Brahma movement, was instrumental in the development of educational, cultural and political consciousness among the Boro people. About the same time, Christianity had its impact in Boro society. The first Christian missionary, Reverend Sidney Endel, came to preach the good news as early as 1864 among the Boro people. He was eloquent in the Boro language. Reverend Sidney Endel established many village schools. In 1875, Reverend Endel's Boro Christian Church was built at Bengbari. He is known as the father of Boro literature by compiling an outline of Kachari grammar and by publishing a monograph, The Kacharis. Cradled in lush valleys, protected by majestic green hills, nurtured by teeming rivulets, enchanting flora and fauna, the Boro lives in his basic social unit, the village. Houses are built of bamboo and straw thatch with a courtyard in between. Agriculture is the prime occupation. Rice is indeed the staple food, and the major portion of Boro lives is related to its cultivation and production. In a land crisscrossed by fast-flowing rivers, rain-swollen rivulets, and soft, boulder-strewn, tinkling streams, fish is plentiful. Boro women enjoy fishing, both for pleasure and food. Fish traps are known as zekai and folho. The fish basket is known as kobai. These are made out of bamboo fastened with cane. Dried fish is ground with special medicinal herbs to be preserved and fermented in airtight bamboo cylinders to form a very special delicacy, the nafam, a favorite with all Boro. Except for beef, the Boro eat a wide variety of food: fish, crabs, snail meat, silk pupae, rice cakes, pork, exotic herbs and bamboo shoots are the favorite cuisine. Areca nut and betel leaves are favorite Boro chewables. Each and every courtyard has these trees. Visitors and guests are warmly entertained with betel nut. Areca nut has a fairly permanent spot in the Boro mouth. Another flourishing industry among the Boros is sericulture. Each Boro family, rich or poor, usually keeps one or more hand-operated loom. Particularly adept at weaving, Boro women churn out vast quantities of cloth from their seemingly primitive looms. The products that they turn out are noted for their vigorous, colorful designs, warmth, softness, and durability. The colorful piece of cloth that their womenfolk wear is known as the dokona. With song on their lips and rhythm in their gait, music and dance are an integral part of Boro cultural life. With soft, flowing movements, strangely reminiscent of flitting butterflies, the Bogorumba is the most popular dance. The Boro weaves harmony and beauty into the heart of his culture. Spring heralds a new Boro year. Boisagu is the expression of their hope and joy at New Year. It is the greatest celebration of the year. Rice beer or zou refreshes. Love songs repair spirits. Dancing renews and reunites. The Boisagu is the triumph of soul, color, warmth and life. The Bodo and their land were left alone for a long time until changing world conditions lured them and land was viewed differently. The impact of Western civilization on the Bodo was felt in the last decades of the 19th century and resulted in the consequent decline and extinction of the Bodo kingdoms of Dimasa, Tipura or Kokborok, Sutiar, Moran, Koch and others. The colonialists seized Bodo lands for rich natural resources to feed rapid rates of industrialization in the West. Bodo people were used as collectors of forest products, as cheap slave labor in tea plantations, and as mercenaries to oppress and enslave other indigenous peoples. Along with the colonial government came traders, adventurers, and poor peasants and laborers from well-populated Bangladesh, Nepal, and the Indian plains. Even after India's independence, both government and capitalists grabbed the land of the Bodo people for industrialization, tea plantations, militarization, and even for research projects. The Bodo, of course, resisted such incursions, sometimes with force, and at other times by retreating further into the forests with much sacrifice of life and hardship. Transmigration schemes of the government and the unmitigated settlement of land with hungry outsiders, backed by vote bank hungry politicians, deposed and uprooted the indigenous Bodo people. A people who for thousands of years were intrinsically linked to the forest that abounded in their land, have now become forced to exploit it under massive consumerist pressure. Other than the Bodo people, the outsiders have been encroaching in the forest land, creating tremendous ecological problems. Timber merchants, with the help of government and local timber smugglers, logging day and night, exploit the native Bodo people as laborers. Enforced poverty has not only turned the Bodo into a daily wage earner at home, but has also forced him to migrate to alien land as a laborer. More than 50,000 laborers have been forced to work in the coal mines of Jayantia Hills in Meghalaya in dangerous and unhealthy conditions. In alien land, their social structure has completely broken down, while the evil designs of modern society have molded their lives. The Kokborok, known also as Tripuri, had ruled the smallest northeast Indian state, Tripura, till the early part of the 20th century. The Britishers had always referred to the state as independent Hill Tipura. Surprisingly, just after joining the Indian Union in 1949, the Kokborok, who were owners and constituted more than 90% of the total population of Hill Tipura prior to the 1947 partition, have been reduced to a microscopic minority. Rich in culture, the Rabhas and the Tivas are also facing the same fate in post-independence India. The systematic subversion of indigenous social and political institutions and the imposition of alien institutions have forced most Bodo to accept the new order of living. Nevertheless, despite the onslaught of the colonizers and the politically dominant society, the values espoused in the indigenous worldview, in the indigenous social and political institutions, are not completely lost. Enough of the old social order was preserved or remembered to spark off a new fervor and promote the Bodo to reclaim their identity and their dignity as a people. Now, a long and difficult struggle has just begun to restore the lost heritage.